Hey Kentucky fans, how are you guys doing? It's not great, is it? Is misery. Well, I mean honestly, I want to start this by saying it clearly. We're all frustrated, we're all emotional, we're all maybe not even any of those things. This video isn't going to be about piling on. It's not going to be a hot take. It's going to be about an honest moment for Kentucky basketball after the Missouri loss and what that moment's telling us. Because we all well know this isn't the standard. This isn't what Kentucky basketball is supposed to look like or feel like. And Missouri it wasn't a fluke night. It's kind of the way the rest of the season has gone. Kentucky had an 8-point lead late, and the game slipped away because of execution and intention and just a whole lot of things that we could break down and discuss and talk about. And we'll, just offensive spacing, like players were all on top of each other all the time, and just so much room in the middle not being used, and just execution things. I mean, but that's the part that hurts. It's not the loss itself, but how familiar the pattern is starting to feel. Just players in the wrong spot, things not just discombobulated all over the place. I mean, against good teams, we see slow starts, big deficits, late collapses. It's not about effort. Like I said, it's been about execution, identity, control. The picture that I used for the thumbnail, it broke my heart seeing that. That's from Jack Pilgrim, KSR, by the way. And it's not embarrassment. That's not apathy. That's a coach sitting with the weight of expectations in an empty arena. I genuinely hate it for Mark Pope as a person. He's one of us. He graduated from here, and I'm not using that as an excuse not to criticize him. Just saying he knows exactly what it's supposed to look like. And I think he's sitting there with the weight of that expectation on his shoulder. Nobody can question whether he cares. The real question is whether he can fix it. Because at Kentucky, caring isn't enough. Effort isn't enough. Wanting it isn't enough. You have to turn belief into results and results into authority on the basketball court. We need to see teams finish and close these games out with defensive effort and with defensive intensity and with strong offensive execution. Need to see a couple of recruits sign on. And I understand the frustration. I understand the anger. Honestly, what worries me more than anything else is something that I'm starting to see on Twitter and that I'm starting to really see just in the fan base itself is apathy. There's some silence. There's some weariness. People have stopped yelling. They've stopped blaming refs. They've stopped arguing with each other. There's some rage, but it's not as much as it has been. It's just weariness. It's apathy. Kentucky basketball's never been a program that's lived around apathy. And I know some of you don't want to hear this, but the important part is this is fixable. This isn't a talentless roster. This isn't a broken locker room. This is a team searching for identity, toughness, and consistency. Those things can be built if the adjustments are correct. The margin's very thin. The clock is real. The answers have to show up on the floor. And I don't know what's going on in press conferences. Because one thing that I saw on another show, the Loyal BBN Fan Show, Cam Williams-Stagg called in. And he says he sees it in practice. And he cautions us that last year, Lamont Butler went down. And things had to get adjusted. And it took a little bit. But it happened later in the year. Jalen immediately got injured. And so been dealing with that from moment one. And been trying to do things with limited practices and everything. So I get it from that perspective too. Hey, there's been things that have pushed execution and learning and working together backwards. That it's going to have to show up later down the road. I've said it before. The margin's thin. The clock is very real. It's the SEC part of the schedule. Now, I'm I'm not calling for anything today. I'm not rooting against anyone. I'm rooting for Kentucky basketball to feel like Kentucky basketball again. That means they need to be disciplined. They need to play with presence. They need to walk into games believing they're going to win it and playing with execution and intelligence for 40 minutes. This moment, it doesn't define the program, but how it's handled me. And, well, we'll see what happens next. And what happens next could very well define whether we have a resurgence of the Mark Pope era or we have a quick end. And I know which one I'm rooting for. Thank you guys. God bless you guys. And go Big Blue.